All right, folks, it was a huge story when it was revealed that investigators combing through boxes in the basement of a Mississippi evidence room discovered an arrest warrant for Carolyn Bryant Donham. That is the white woman who testified and was the one who said that Emmett Till whistled at her or made a remark to her. It was her testimony that led to his conviction, that led to the acquittal of her husband and others in the death of Emmett Till. Now, there's no statute of limitations, for this. She committed perjury, folks. This warrant was discovered again by people who have been very much involved in trying to seek justice in this particular case. Now, look, Emmett Till was 14 years old when he was lynched in Mississippi and for supposedly whistling at her in a grocery store on August 24th, 1955. Now, Carolyn Bryant is in her 80s. She can still be arrested for that. So the question is, why aren't prosecutors actually going after her? Well, this weekend, there were a group of, last week, there were a group of protesters who literally went door to door in Raleigh, North Carolina, looking for Carolyn Bryant. Even went to a nursing home. We went to a senior living center searching for Carolyn Bryant Donham. And so we want to talk about this with John C. Barnett. He's a national civil rights activist, and also Deborah Watts, who is the cousin of Emmett Till and co-founder of the Emmett Till Legacy Foundation. I want to start with you first, John. This going to North Carolina, searching for her. You don't have the information in terms of where she actually lives. And so it was knocking on doors, going to a senior living center. How did y'all arrive at that location? What happened?
Well, first of all, thank you for allowing us to be on your show. And I love your show. I watch it all the time. We basically we Googled, you can find anybody's address on Google now, but we Googled the last two known addresses for Miss Carolyn Donham, and we found the 8800 Stockbridge Drive, which is an apartment complex. We went there first, and then the second location was the actual rest home that you may have seen some of the news stories where we were at. And the first one, no one answered the door. Myself and my big brother, Dr. Malik Zulu Shabazz, we went to the back door. There were some shoes there, like someone was there, obviously living there, but no one answered the door. So we were there for like maybe 20, 30 minutes. And then we departed there, and the convoy, New Black Panther Party, all of our friends, my members, my organization, we all went to the rest home, which is 10 minutes away. When we got there, the individuals that were there on the floor, we went it was about 60 of us, maybe more. And we just asked, have y'all ever heard of Carolyn Donham? Some people said they heard that she was there. One person said she was there. And then the rest of them was just dumbfounded, like, we don't even know Miss Carolyn, neither do we know Emmett Till. So we just proceeded to go to the 6th floor. That's the address that we had on Google, and knocked on the door. I think a Hispanic man opened the door. We asked him how long he'd been there. He said he'd been there a year. And then now we're at the point where we're just still looking for her. We did get information from a local officer that did say she is in Raleigh. He did inform us of that. I won't say that officer's name, but they did say that she was in Raleigh. So I don't know if they're moving her around or whatever the case may be. But all of us know, she can run, but she can't hide.
You have your critics. Folks say some have suggested your critics, this is a vigilante mob searching for her, that you're not law enforcement. Allow law enforcement to do their job if they choose to execute this search warrant. Your response?
My response would be is that if you compare our situation to what they did at the Capitol, it's totally different last year. We went in very peaceful. Nobody was hurt. We actually exercised our First Amendment. We have the right to assemble outside where we staged our press conference. No one was arrested. No one was assaulted. And it was very, very peaceful, unlike what maybe people may have seen. But it was the total opposite of what we seen at the Capitol last year in D.C.
Deborah, I'll go to you. Does the family of Emmett Till, do y'all want to see Carolyn Bryant brought to justice for her testimony in that trial, and of course her initial statements that we now know not to be true?
First of all, thank you to Roland for having me on, and I appreciate this opportunity. Our family, starting with Mamie Till Mobley, fought for 47 years to bring justice. And Carolyn Bryant did whistle. I want everybody to know she did whistle. There are so many rumors out there, and the witnesses that were with Emmett have stated that numerous times. So Carolyn whistled. What Carolyn did, though, also, which is what this warrant was about, she was involved as an accomplice to the kidnapping of Emmett Lewis Till and to the eventual lynching of him. So, yes, we would like, and we've stated this very clearly, and there weren't researchers there or investigators. It was me, my daughter Terry, our family advocate, Kali Rashid, Keith Beauchamp, who's a filmmaker, along with Melissa Ernest, which is one of our Emmett Till Legacy Foundation ambassadors. This has been part of our campaign that we established in 2020. And this was all a part of something that we felt needed to be determined and to be found. We had heard all along that there was a warrant for Carolyn Bryant's arrest, but it was never served. And nor did the investigators or anyone, the FBI and others, never looked at Leflore County Courthouse, which is where the kidnapping charges were, and which is where Roy Bryant and J.W. Milam had been, their warrant was warrant for their arrest, and they were held there as well. So Leflore County was never a place where any of our investigation had taken place. It was all Tallahatchie County. So our family, along with our foundation and our ambassadors, knew that that was something we needed to do. And this was established months ago. And we knew we had a duty and a responsibility. And what we want is that warrant executed. We want the law enforcement to do their job and to execute that warrant and make sure that Carolyn Bryant Donham receives the warrant. And we also are asking for the Department of Justice to oversee this, along with DA Richardson, who is the DA in that 4th district, to impanel a grand jury. So hopefully the jury will come up with a conviction. And so Carolyn Bryant, as we know, is an accomplice. She's culpable in the kidnapping first and the murder and lynching of Emmett Lewis Till. That is what we want. We've made this very, very clear. We are looking for law enforcement to do their job. Now, have they done their job 67 years ago? No, the warrant was never served to Carolyn Bryant. So that's what we're asking for. We are not searching for Carolyn Bryant ourselves, nor are we expecting others to do that. They, others have their First Amendment rights to freedom of speech and others, but we want the law to work the way it should. And that's why we've worked really hard to make sure that we secured the warrant, the file, the affidavit, and all of that information there in the Leflore County Courthouse. So it's secure there. It's been given to the appropriate authorities, the sheriff in Leflore County, along with the DA and the Department of Justice. So we're moving forward and not trying to take the law in our own hands.
Now, one of the things that I said last week that I believe is important here, we saw a 101-year-old former Nazi soldier tried and convicted. There have been other former Nazi soldiers who have been in their 70s, 80s, 90s, convicted, deported from this country. So this notion that somehow, Carolyn Bryant is too old. No, Robert Durst, who recently died, was tried several times for murder. He was elderly. He was convicted. And then, of course, he eventually died a little bit after that. So it's not like, this is somehow outside of the realm of American law enforcement. No, it has happened. And I dare say, I will compare a former Nazi guard to white supremacists during the era of Jim Crow. They are the same.
That's correct.
Deborah first. Deborah, then John.
You know, Edgar Ray Killens was actually convicted also, you know, of the 3 civil rights workers, that murder. And so we have in this country that opportunity to bring forward an accomplice. She's culpable in the murder and the kidnapping and murder and lynching of Emmett Till. You won't hear us saying anything about her age. You know, that's not coming from us. We've worked really hard, and Mamie Till Mobley set the stage for what we're doing today. She always wanted justice. But the one thing that you won't hear from us is we don't hate Carolyn. We don't have malice or vengeance. We want justice to be carried out. We want this to occur as it should have occurred in 1955. So there's nothing that we're asking for or doing that anyone that is not been held accountable, we're asking for the accountability to take place. What is different here is that this is a white woman, and this white woman, and there's not many white women that have been held accountable for any kind of offenses. So this would set a precedent, but I think Mississippi has blood on its hands. There's a stain there, and I know they want to move forward. They cannot move forward without clearing this up with Emmett. So I see it as a wonderful opportunity for the state of Mississippi, for the Attorney General, the governor, along with the DA, to have the will and the courage to move this forward. And then I think our country has an opportunity to see justice work, the wheels of justice work, like it does for every other citizen, other than Black bodies in this country.
And John, look, Byron Della Beckwith, who was prosecuted for the murder of Medgar Evers. His trial was in 1994. He was convicted. He was 71 years old. Again, old white man. Sorry, old white man, same as an old white woman.
Right. And you know what's interesting? I really believe, Mr. Martin, that if you was to go back in time in 1955 and you see 3 warrants for 3 people, brother-in-law, husband, wife, I've been hearing, don't know if Miss Cousin here can elaborate on this. I'm visualizing cops coming to the house, picking the brother-in-law and the the husband up, and seeing Miss Carolyn with the 2 kids and saying, you know what, you got the babies. We're going to put this warrant to the side, let you keep the babies, and we're going to take the brother-in-law and the husband. And it's funny that you talked about the age factor, because a reporter in Raleigh last week, that was one of her questions. She thought she was going to throw me off, but it didn't work. She said, Mr. Barnett, don't you feel bad about an 87-year-old lady who she's losing her mind, and she gave me all these sad stories? I said, y'all just locked up Bill Cosby. You didn't care if he was losing his eyesight or not. You didn't care about his wife, Camille. You locked up Bill Cosby. So, and we still haven't found any tangible evidence on that. So I'm thinking what happened was, and I wasn't there in 1955. I just have to go back in my civil rights mind and say those cops did not want to take her to jail because she had those 2 children there. But now that day these kids are older now, and they're grown and they can feed themselves. And I think it's the right thing to do now with the race relations.
Well, you know what? I just want to pause it right there, because I remember when Congressman Jesse Jackson Jr. Was convicted. He pled guilty. He had children. He and his wife, he and his then wife, were both convicted. He went to prison first. When he was released, she then went to prison because they factored in the caring of their children. So again, so all of these excuses that people have offered, we can show numerous examples where individuals with children went to prison for the things that they were involved in. Deborah, the other thing is this here. Carolyn Bryant has admitted she lied. I mean, Timothy Tyson did this book called The Blood of Emmett Till, where in interviews with him, she admitted she lied. Now the whole point is, if you execute the arrest warrant, you now then get her, you have to interview her and get her now under oath admitting that. And so it's there. And so for this DA, I mean, the pressure needs to be put on him as well, because he is allowing someone, your point that you made, someone who participated in the kidnapping, frankly, and was an accomplice to murder
That's right.
to walk around scot-free.
Yes.
Right.
Well, Roland, I do want to clear something up. The Timothy Tyson book did claim that Carolyn Bryant recanted her story. She later refuted that. She and her daughter-in-law said they're sticking to the lie. The lie that Emmett made sexual advances towards her. Now, everybody knows, and they should know today, yes, Emmett did whistle. That should not have been a death sentence. Secondly, when the FBI reopened the case in 2017 because of Timothy Tyson's book, they closed it December 6, 2021, because they could not corroborate his statement, the statements in his book, or through any of his investigation and recordings. He had no recordings of Carolyn Bryant doing this. So Carolyn Bryant is sticking to the, the claim that Emmett grabbed her about the waist, made sexual advances towards her, which we all know did not happen. That said that he whistled, they were there. And so they know that he didn't do that. He didn't have an opportunity to do that. So what we're talking about is specifically Carolyn Bryant being culpable in the kidnapping. There were 2 young men that were brought to Carolyn that night as well. Those 2 young men were let go. Of course, they were beat up. They were let go. But Carolyn said, no, those aren't the ends, right? So, but Emmett ends up kidnapped, lynched, 75-pound oxygen fan tied around his neck, and thrown into Tallahatchie River. The other thing I want to say, we don't have to speculate what happened.
Right.
We have on the warrant, it says they couldn't find Carolyn Bryant in the county. Other reports, I just want everybody to know, a child was kidnapped and lynched. Wow. This isn't a story. This isn't a game. This is an open murder case. We don't want anything to impede with the legal aspects that have to move forward in this case. I don't want to be disrespectful, but I don't have time for opinions. I don't have time for, speculation or what happened. Emmett was murdered. We're talking about my cousin who was lynched. We have bills after him. We have Emmett Till Unsolved Civil Rights Crimes Act after him. His case is still open. So I just want people to respect the fact that we're moving forward. We're moving forward with earnest. We're not turning back. We are not accepting what the Department of Justice has said about the case being closed. It is not in our eyes. And through the grace of God, we were able to uncover that last piece of evidence, maybe not the last piece, but one huge piece of evidence that we believe they can use to move forward. They need to serve the warrant, at the very least, serve the warrant to Carolyn Bryant, at the very least.
Yep.
Complete what you set out, what you should have set out to do.
And it's amazing, Roland, an old mentor of mine once told me that innocent blood cries from the grave. I was like, wow, innocent blood. We may not know exactly what happened to Dr. King or who shot JFK in the grassy knoll, but this is an obvious sign that that innocent blood, that Emmett's innocent blood cried from the grave. And to know that the Justice Department closed the case last year in December, if they had had this smoking gun with this warrant, maybe things would have been a little better. So I agree with my sister. The DOJ need to open it back up. Much respect to the DOJ. They need to open this case back up because now we have a smoking gun. This is like the OJ glove. This warrant is just damaged. Very damaged.
There are a lot of people.
Deborah, go ahead. Final comment.
There are a lot of people that don't much about the case. And so I just want to make sure there was enough evidence in 2004 when the case was presented. There was evidence that implicated 2 people, Carolyn Bryant Donham and Henry Lee Loggins. Those were the 2 last living accomplices. The grand jury was formed. That's done in secret. And they decided no true bill. But there was enough evidence that was gathered between 2004, 2006, and that case was closed in 2007. So we're saying that this is a continuation of that investigation. And this is one piece that they that can prove, as it was proved in 2004, that Carolyn Bryant is an accomplice. And so without hate, malice, or vengeance, without violence or anything like that, we are going to be moving forward. And so we just want to make sure that the country stands with us, that we have the prayer warriors out there praying with us, that Mississippi does the right thing. Mississippi has an opportunity to remove that stain. They have blood on their hands right now. They can clean that up. Dwayne Richardson, please, impanel a grand jury. Sheriff in LaFleur County, serve the warrant wherever Carolyn is in this country or world.
Deborah Watts, John Barnett, we surely appreciate it. Thanks a lot. All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment. Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Hold no punches.
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?